Hi, I'm Rob from robnonphoto.com, and today we're going to be looking at the Franka NX-40 Plastic Fantastic 35mm toy camera. The Franka is quite typical of a lot of little plastic 35mm film cameras that you can pick up around car boot sales, charity shops, thrift stores, this sort of thing. They tended to be either sold very, very cheaply or given away as prizes throughout the sort of 60s, 70s, 80s and probably the 90s as well. And kind of what they all tend to have in common is that they don't use batteries. They tend to be, the build quality tends to be quite poor. Plastic lenses, normally very, very simple ways of controlling the exposure with just changing an aperture. So there's no adjustable shutter speed, and most of the time there'll also be a fixed focal length in terms of there's no zoom, and they also have infinite focus. Yeah, that you can't focus them. But the very surprising thing, especially if you're used to shooting digital all the time, is the fact that these things can in fact take a decent enough photograph on a nice sunny day. And you may well ask yourself, well, what's the point in using a camera like this? And really, it's to experiment. It's to have a bit of fun. It's also to see the world in a different way. These lenses, as I said, they're plastic lenses. There's no coatings on them. They're very soft. The exposure is a bit of a lottery. And it's just a really nice change from the high definition photos you get out of your digital camera. So if you just started into getting these, if you see one down the car boot sale or down the thrift shop, what do you want to do? Well, first just have a look at it, make sure that you can see through the viewfinder, it's not all fogged up. Does the aperture change? Because the way that this one works is, you won't be able to see it on the video, but on here we have, it says like F6, F8, F11 and F16, and then we've got cloudy, sunny with a bit of clouds, sunny and very bright. And what you do is, depending on how bright it is in the day, you just adjust it there. And what that's doing is it's just changing the aperture. There's a simple aperture inside that's just kind of opening and closing. And then just wind it on and press the button and just check to see if it takes a picture. This one, actually, the click's gone in the aperture, but so it's got an infinitely adjustable aperture from f6 to f16. But it doesn't really matter, because what you're probably going to be putting through this baby is maybe some colour film. And the beauty with colour film is that it's very forgiving when you have it developed. If you underexpose it or overexpose it, chances are, if you're going to be putting it through into a lab, into your local chemist or whatever, they will adjust it so you get something looking out for it. If you feel very adventurous, you could even put some slide film through it, some say chrome film, and see what, and then develop it through the C41 process. So you take it to your local lab, and what you then get is you get this fantastic cross-process look as well. But you might not choose to do that, because slide film can be a little bit more expensive to buy. And the Franka NX-40, although it's a very simple camera, one of the things that I have found about it is that it's very difficult to load properly. And in fact, I'd almost forgotten about it, but when I first got this, I think last year or the year before, I did put a roll of film through it and lost a roll. Because when you flip open the back, you've got your normal sort of 35, your empty 35mm film canister goes in there, and you stretch it across and you put it on the sprockets there, and it's very easy to load it, and so that it doesn't engage properly. And so, and this is a little tip for all film cameras as well, 35s. When you're winding on the camera, just to make sure that you've definitely wound it properly, what you're looking for is this bit here with the handle on to be spinning around as well. When you're going like that and taking your photos, this bit should spin at the same time, or a little bit after. Sometimes it's almost like a spring-loaded effect. If it doesn't at all, you haven't loaded it properly, and every time you're winding it on, and taking a picture, nothing's happening. And I put a roll of black and white through this, I think, and developed it myself, and it was just a blank sheet of film, because blank roll of film, because it hadn't been winding on. But I'm a bit more experienced with film cameras now, so I know to watch out for it. So I put another roll of 35mm through it, and what we'll do in a sec is we'll get a little bit closer, and you can have a look at these photos. I didn't bother getting them scanned, because it was really just some test photos. But you know, they seem to have come out all right. What I'll do is at the end of the video I'll put some more close-ups of these. Generally speaking, Portsmouth Harbour, some buildings, the photos are pleasant enough. Make sure you take them on a nice sunny day. They're not too soft actually. The focus is quite impressive of things that are further away. If things are a little bit closer, then they're not that in focus. But you know, as long as it's a bright sunny day, you know, the photos seem to come out okay. So there we go. That's the Franka NX-40 plastic fantastic 35mm film camera. If you see one, pick one up. Don't spend much money on one though. I think it's got a tag on for £3, but I think I spent about £1.50 on this one. Don't use it to photograph anything that you couldn't do without. But as a little bit of fun, just to put a few rolls through, just to have a go with this type of camera, you know, a Diana Lomo type camera, it is pretty good, and it's worth playing around with. Well, my name's Rob from robnunphoto.com. Thanks for watching.